Based on actual events, Warfare follows a group of soldiers on a mission that goes horribly wrong, and we follow their struggle as they try and get out of a terrible situation. Film fans YouTube, hello and welcome back to the channel. I am Josh from the Apprentice, and today I am looking at Warfare, directed by Ray Mendoza and Alex Garland. Ray Mendoza, in actual fact, was one of the soldiers that was in this battle, adding a level of authenticity to it, starring the talents of, and pardon me if I mispronounce this, but the Pharaoh Woon-A-Tai, Cosmo Jarvis, Will Poulter, and Joseph Quinn. Warfare is a straightforward and simple movie. If Alex Garland, I know he said he wants to go into more writing over directing, but if he wants to be behind any war-related films in the future, have him top your list, because after Civil War showed us the realities of being wartime press journalists on the ground, this film Warfare shows us the true, raw, gritty, and visceral nature of modern warfare that is these days very desensitized due to the amount of exposure we have to it from video games as well as just seeing it on the news. This is a film that puts us straight into the shoes of the soldiers on the ground level and deals with all the emotions and stress that go along with it. Like, Warfare is a film that doesn't do any fancy Hollywood tricks. There is no glitz or glamour about it. There's no monologues. There's no emotional heroic speeches. This is very much just following a mission minute by minute from its beginnings to when it goes horribly wrong to the eventual culmination of this mission. The film starts off with a tension in the air. We don't know as a viewer what the mission is. We don't know what the objective is. We are just watching the soldiers take a house and then wait, make some notes. There are long silences of just anxiety waiting for something to happen and dreading when that first bullet flies. That is what I felt the film does so effectively. It's allowing us to appreciate just how much tension there must be on the air in ground level, because just watching the film makes you feel tense by the silence and the waiting. Imagine what it's like for the soldiers that are putting their lives at risk going out there. And this is a film that can be described as being very one-sided in its perspective, as we only really see the POV of the soldiers. But I would say having the family have some very strong moments in the house that they take over, that allows a little bit more of a balance. It's not a complete balance shift, but it allows to see both sides of things just a little bit, and seeing the little bits of communications and the radio messages and the accuracy of that. The authenticity of this film is just second to none. And when we get into the mission going south, that's when you really are just shocked at this movie. There are some shocking images and some great performances in this. Joseph Quinn, for example, I didn't even really recognize him watching this. I recognized Will Poulter straight away. Joseph Quinn, I did not clock it was him, and it was only after I'd seen the movie and checked the cast list that I did see him on the list. I'm realizing what character he played. That was very surprising to me. With the subtleties, it manages to help us connect to different individuals, making sure we have a lot of time to get to know their faces, knowing exactly who they are. So when they're all geared up and bullets are flying and we don't know who's being hit, like, we are able to tell at a glance who it would be when they are wounded in action. I just love the sound design of this movie. The sound design cuts out so much in this. The classic ringing in your ears, the muted yelling, that happens quite regularly in this. At times it's due to the classic explosion, but other times it's there to represent an individual soldier almost having an out-of-body experience or a moment of shock. Like, the performances from all the soldiers in this is great because you buy into all the stress they are feeling, and they are all expressing it in different ways. From making little errors like putting a morphine needle in the wrong way, genuinely getting dizzy or spacing out. And some of it you have to acknowledge, I'm messed up right now. I'm in no condition to take command of this. You take over. There's several moments like this that really heighten the tension, because there's that stress of they're surrounded by people wanting to see their heads on a platter. You have wounded men there, and there's that stress of trying to make sure everyone's getting out alive. It's just an authentic representation of modern warfare, and this is a film that I feel like people should see, because we are so desensitized to modern warfare. We are privileged and lucky to be growing up in countries that haven't seen direct war on our home front for decades. So seeing it how it is on the ground level in another country, seeing the devastation, like little things like there's several times they get a jet to fly really low to the ground as a show of force. And God, those are some powerful visuals. I adored this movie. I would say my only real complaints are that whilst I do appreciate it lacks any glitz and glam you would see in other Hollywood war movies. There is a lack of clarity as to what the mission is. I get that it's not really the overall point, but it does feel like when you're watching the movie, they are just taking over a building and waiting to be attacked, and that's their whole mission. It feels very counterintuitive and the pointless risk of life. So a bit more clarity of what the mission was going to be would have helped me invest into the reasoning of why, especially when we get into this family that have done nothing. They've just had their home taken over by the US and it's being casually blown up as a tactical maneuver, losing everything they have. Like the actors of that family don't have many moments, but when they do have those moments, they sell those moments fantastically. It's just really my grats to have for the movie. From a technical performance standpoint, it does its job. It does everything it says on the tin. There's are those small gripes, that lack of clarity in regards to the mission. And even though I absolutely adored the technical aspects of the movie and the performances, it just felt the film was missing something. It's one of those films that I can't think of too much overall wrong with it off the top of my head, but it's lacking that extra oomph that makes it a film that I love. If I had to compare it to Civil War, for example, I'd say I probably just prefer Civil War slightly because we get a little bit more of a human moment in it. Whereas in this one, we get one human moment with all the characters, and then it's a lot of silence. And the execution of the tension is fantastic. And when that first hit drop, that is brilliant. Like the tension building, the stress, and the visceral recreation of life on the front lines in an active battle zone is something to behold. Alex Garland does a fantastic job in this, and Ray Mendoza directs the ever loving hell out of this. And the fact he was, whilst I was on the ground, I cannot question the authenticity of what took place on this mission. Before I get into my grade, if you like what you see on the channel, click the like button and subscribe for more reviews that's coming all the time. Without further ado, let's grade this. Warfare is it's something else on a technical level. This is a eye-opening experience and assault on the senses that will leave you gasping for air because you genuinely don't know when that first bullet is going to fly. There is a great silent, suspenseful tension that builds up for that first bit. And then when we get into the action, we see the stresses, the anxiety of the soldiers involved, having to keep a cool, collected head, having to do these complex call singles, being information to each other, all the while bullets are flying out constantly. Like, it really gives you an appreciation for what soldiers go through in a modern warfare zone. Usually when you watch a film and you're seeing people not able to hit anything, and you're wondering how they not hit anything. This one, you really buy it because the comparison between this small group of soldiers versus what feels like an army of locals coming after them, the difference of equipment and power behind them is what is ultimately the leveler in this. And it really is expressed both visually and narratively in this movie. This was an entertaining movie that is just lacking that little extra something to really push it to the next level. I'm gonna have to say it for me. Warfare is a good cup of tea. So Warfare, have you seen it? If you have, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you like to see our channel, click the like button and subscribe for more videos that's coming all the time coming up on the channel. Until Dawn is finally coming out on Friday. I was gonna do a stream of playing it, but unfortunately ain't able to get the game at the minute. So that's unfortunate, but I cannot wait to talk about Until Dawn, one of my favorite games that I played. Until next, everybody, I am Josh. I have been Movie Apprentice, and I'll see you all in the next video.